Welcome back to Chapter 1, Part 5, Accessing a Web Page.
Chapter 1, Essential Outcomes. Students communicate, collaborate, create, and apply critical thinking skills through project-based learning by A. Constructing, computing, and designing a professional portfolio. B. Empowering and challenging each other to create unique designs. C. Applying knowledge regarding the Internet, World Wide Web, browsers, operating systems, and websites. D. Being responsible web designers and digital citizens. E. Sharing their innovative designs via global networking. F. Linking keywords to project application.
There are 4 basic steps in accessing a page: the URL, the request, the response, and rendering the page. Accessing a web page. There are 3 ways that you can access a web page using the URL. You can type in the URL, search for the URL, or copy and paste the URL into the search bar. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. The URL allows you to locate a resource that exists somewhere on the internet. A resource could be a JPEG, a document, an MP3, MP4, XLSX, etc., etc. Breaking down the URL. In a URL, the HTTP:// is called the protocol. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTP defines the rules for how messages are formatted and transmitted, and what actions web servers and browsers should take in response to various commands. HTTPS is an extension of the Hypertext Protocol for secure communication over a computer network and is widely used on the internet. Whenever you purchase anything online, make sure that it has the HTTPS protocol. Domain name system. There is a system on the internet that houses the domain names and addresses, and these are tracked and regulated. DNS started in 1985. It is comprised of numerical numbers, IP address, and domain names that are conveniently translated into words for ease and understanding. So as a review, the IP address is made up of zeros and ones, and the domain name is made up of words. An IP address is an identifier for a computer or a device. It is unique for each device, and no 2 devices can have the same IP address. Networks route messages based on IP addresses of the destination. The format of an IP address is 4 numbers separated by periods, and each number can be between 0 to 255. For example, 192.168.10.230 is an IP address. A domain name is a name that identifies an IP address. It is words. It can identify 1 or more IP addresses. It also has more than one domain name. More than one domain name can point to a single IP address. A domain name is used to identify a website over the internet. For example, StillmanValleyHigh.org is a domain name. Breaking down the URL. Please stop this PowerPoint video and go to Google Classroom underneath the About section to watch the video called What is a URL? Make sure you answer all of the questions in the video. Then return to this PowerPoint when you have finished. Step 2. The request. After adding the URL, the browser sends out a request asking www.example.com to please send the file homepage.html. The request by the browser goes to the various servers. Each server sits in a specific location on the internet, which is represented in that diagram by little circles displayed in the cloud. They sit there and listen for requests. Requests are not simple. There is a lot of information provided to the server, such as get/homepage.html, http:/1.1. It asks for the host. It looks for content language, etc., etc. So requests are complicated. The response. Once the server recognizes the request, it provides a response by sending it back to your computer. So your computer will receive homepage.html. Back at your computer, the web page is sent through your browser and displayed on your monitor. All of this happens within less than 1 second. Hosting a web page. To host a web page on the internet, you must register and get a domain name and an IP address. You will have to find a name that is not already yet taken. You need to have a server that sits at the domain and listens for requests coming in. You will also have to upload server files so the server has files to respond to and with. So you will need to provide the server with specific pages, otherwise it cannot render a page that it does not have. Your job will be to create these files that a server can respond to and render to your computer. The language of the web. HTML, or Hypertext Markup Language, is the language used by the web. It allows you to construct a web page. And a web page is a new way that information is shared with people. Facebook, Twitter, Google, all of these websites are constructed using HTML. Once you create your web page, any device can display your web page as long as it is hosted on a server on the internet. We will be using HTML5, the most current version of HTML. Let's talk about how computers process. Computers do not read data by using the alphabet, such as letters, but rather they use numbers. Rather than a 10-base decimal system, which is 0 to 9, computers process using 2-base binary numbers, which are zeros and ones. A bit is the smallest unit of measurement. It will either be a 0 or a 1, either on or off. 8 bits creates a byte, which makes up a character. Binary string. A binary string is 8 bits, and this can represent any of 256 possible values, ranging from 0 to 255. Thus, we can represent a wide variety of different items. If you look on the right, you'll see a diagram that shows the binary string for capital letters and the binary string for lowercase. It's now time to work with binary. So we are going to learn how to translate and write in two-base binary system. There are 2 videos you need to watch. Go to Google Classroom underneath the About section. Select the first video called Convert Decimal to Binary. Make sure you answer all of the questions in the video. And then go back to Google Classroom and watch the second video called Convert Binary to Decimal. Again, make sure you watch the video in its entirety and that you answer all of the questions given in the video. Then return to this PowerPoint when you have finished. Welcome back to this PowerPoint. It is now time to work on your binary code conversion worksheet. Go to Google Classroom. You may do this worksheet in pairs of 2. But make sure you understand how to convert your quiz on binary. You also may do it by yourself, which is what I highly recommend. But if you're confused or unsure how to work in binary, then you can work with a team. I would suggest that once you start understanding it, that you work on your own. If you work as a team of 2, then you will both need to submit or turn in a worksheet through Google Classroom. In the header of your worksheet, make sure you put in both names of your team so that I know that you work together and that you did not copy in any fashion. Once you finish your Google Classroom conversion worksheet for binary, then return back to this video. Chapter 1, Part 5, the partial quiz. Make sure at this point that you have reviewed your keywords in the PowerPoint, the video, and understand how to convert decimals to binary and binary to decimals. Then go to Google Classroom and take your quiz using Google Forms. Look for the Chapter 1, Part 5 quiz link. As always, thank you for your participation in this worksheet and in the presentation. It is now time to go back to Google Classroom or to the class website and look for your next video.